Welcome to the second smartwatch module, V14. Before starting V14, please make sure that you have reviewed the first smartwatch module, V13. If so, then let's proceed. Welcome back, Shark. Please make sure that you have read the entire office action. Please read each and every rejection presented by the examiner in the office action. As you may recall, the examiner presented 4 separate rejections to the claims. These 4 rejections are based on a combination of different references. In other words, patent publications and patents. The references used in the 4 different rejections are Chang, Sato, and Mihara. All of these references are patent publications, not issued patents. Therefore, the examiner may apply any type of prior art to reject the claims. As you go through these references, in the back of your mind, please think about how to overcome each and every one of the 4 rejections. In other words, how would you amend the claims to overcome the rejections of the office action? We'll talk more about amending claims at the end of this module. In step 1 of this module, let's revisit the claims at a high level. To determine the scope of the claims, let's look at the purpose of the claims. In other words, what do the claims define in technical terms? Let's look at Independent Claim 1. Independent Claim 1 defines a wristband, a base, the base including a housing, a processor, and a wireless transceiver, a tactile user interface, and a flip-up portion having a top display and an inside display. As you may recall, Independent Claim 5 and Independent Claim 13 are of varying scope. For example, Claim 5 does not include an element found in Claim 1. This element is a camera. And for example, Claim 13 does not include elements found in Claim 1. These elements are the top display, the inside display, as well as the tactile user interface. Also, Claims 1, 5, and 13 are referred to as apparatus claims, as opposed to, say, method claims. In step 2 of this module, let's briefly look at the second page of the office action. This page provides us with some important information. First, it gives us the status of the office action. In other words, this is a non-final office action, as opposed to, say, a final office action. Second, it gives us a summary of the disposition of the claims. In this case, Claims 1 to 20 are pending. Claims 16 to 18 and 20 are objected to by the examiner. And Claims 1 to 15 and 19 are rejected by the examiner. Therefore, we have a nice summary of what is going on with the claims. Third, the status of the drawings is indicated. Specifically, the originally filed drawings have been accepted by the examiner. Now, after examining this page of the office action, let's go to step 3. At this point, it is assumed that you have carefully read the 3 different references used by the examiner in forming the 4 separate and distinct rejections used to reject the claims. You will note that all the rejections presented by the examiner are either 102 or 103 rejections. The single 102 rejection is based on a single reference. The remaining 103 rejections are based on a combination of references. The main reference is the Chang reference, as it is used by the examiner in all 4 rejections. All the other references may be referred to as secondary references. Additionally, after careful review, it seems that all the references are on point. In other words, they were all properly applied in disclosing the features of the claims of the present invention. Now, let's look at every rejection in detail. Let's briefly discuss the first rejection applied by the examiner. As noted, this is a 102 rejection, which is an anticipation rejection. Claims 5, 8, and 9 were rejected under 35 U.S.C. 102b as being anticipated by Cheng. Claim 5 is an independent form. Note that the examiner does not reject independent claims 1 and 13 in this rejection. Thus, the examiner can reject the independent claims in separate rejections. Now, Cheng discloses a wristband, a base, again the base including a housing, a processor, and a wireless transceiver, as well as a tactile user interface and a flip-up portion, the flip-up portion including two elements, a top display and an inside display. In the office action, the examiner states that all the elements or features of Claim 5 are disclosed by Cheng. And the examiner states a smartwatch comprising a wristband 20, a base coupled to the wristband, and it includes the housing, the processor, and the wireless transceiver, and he also indicates which sections of the reference teach such features. And you can read the rest of this slide to determine the first rejection. The examiner continues with this first rejection and talks about the flip-up portion, and he talks about the top display as well as the inside display, and again pinpoints us to figures 9 and figures 10 as well as paragraphs 49 of the Cheng reference. Let's briefly discuss the second rejection applied by the examiner. As noted, this is also a 103 rejection, which is an obviousness rejection. Claims 6, 7, and 12 were rejected under 103 as being unpatentable over Cheng. Thus, the examiner used only one reference to teach all of the elements presented by the claims. Note that all these claims are dependent claims. Now, usually a 103 rejection involves a combination of references. However, in this instance, the examiner used one reference and then used common knowledge to supply a missing element or limitation. And you can see this in Claim 12. The common knowledge argument applied by the examiner in order to form this 103 rejection is used in limited situations. And specifically regarding Claim 12, the examiner took official notice and he stated that the capability of viewing email via a phone is well known, and therefore he doesn't really need to present a reference. He can just take official notice that this is something that is obvious. So for your reference, the examiner may be correct, but we should present an argument to force the examiner to present a reference to teach or suggest such feature, no matter how common such feature might be. Now let's briefly discuss the third rejection applied by the examiner. Once again, this is also a 103 rejection, which is an obviousness rejection. Claims 10 and 11 were rejected under 103 as being unpatentable over Cheng in view of Mihara. Now, in this 103 rejection, the examiner did apply a combination of references to reject the claims. The examiner admitted that Cheng does not disclose a manner in which an inside display is operated when the cover is opened and folded. Instead, the examiner relied on Mihara to teach or suggest such feature. Therefore, the examiner used a combination of two references in this third rejection to reject dependent claims 10 and 11. Now, the examiner continues by stating that disclosed in Figure 5 were a portion of display information displayed in display, and it would have been obvious to design the housing, the hinge, and the flip-up portion, etc., etc. Therefore, this slide presents the reasons advanced by the examiner for using Mihara to reject the claims in combination with Cheng. Now, let's also briefly discuss the final rejection, which is the fourth rejection that was applied by the examiner in the office action. Once again, this is also a 103 rejection, which we stated previously is an obviousness rejection. Claims 1 to 4, 13 to 15, and 19 were rejected under 103A as being unpatentable over Cheng in view of Sato. As you will note, the examiner rejects independent claims 1 and 13. The examiner previously rejected independent claim 5 in the first rejection, as you may recall. Therefore, the examiner may reject the independent claims in different rejections. The examiner states that Cheng teaches or suggests all of the features of claims 1 and 13 except for one feature. The examiner relied on Sato to cure the deficiencies of Cheng, that is, to teach such missing feature of Cheng. The examiner stated that Cheng lacks a specific description of the flip-up portion, forming a viewfinder for the camera when in the open position, and displaying information regarding that image within the viewfinder. Instead, the examiner stated that Sato teaches or suggests such feature. Now, regarding claims 16 to 18 and 20, the examiner states that such claims are objected to as being dependent upon a rejected base claim, but would be allowable if rewritten in independent form, including all of the limitations of the base claim. Now, this is good news, as the examiner believes that such claims include allowable subject matter, or allowable features. Now, one option is to write such claims in independent form. However, another option is to take such allowable subject matter and incorporate it into the existing independent claims, those being claims 1, 5, and 13. Yet another option would be to do nothing with these claims at the moment, as they may be too narrow, so we would have to examine that. For example, claim 16 states that wherein the information related to the image includes product information when a product is displayed in the viewfinder. This is certainly too narrow of a feature to include in the independent claims, as the independent claims would be limited to only this feature. And if you read the patent application, you would see that it anticipates much broader use of this concept. So, now, let's get your point of view. Do you agree with the examiner's assertions? How do you suggest responding to the examiner? I mean, should we amend these claims? Should we add new features to the claims? And if we do add new features, we have to make sure we have support from the specification that was submitted initially. Should we remove any features from the claims? Can we roll over existing features from the dependent claims into the independent claims and maybe slightly modify that language? Or should we just present no amendments at all and just argue that the combination is not proper? Well, there's some food for thought for your first assignment. Now let's look at how to amend the claims by either adding a feature or by expanding on an existing feature. Let's assume that the original independent claim refers to a chair. So the preamble of the claim states, a chair comprising feature 1, for example, at least one leg, which is shown by reference A applied by the examiner. Feature 2, for example, a seat, which is shown by reference A applied by the examiner. And let's say a third feature, let's say a backrest, right, which is shown by reference B, which is also applied by the examiner. So in other words, references A and B in combination show the features 1, 2, and 3 stated in this original independent claim 1. Therefore, we have a problem, as the examiner can apply this combination of references A and B against our claim as originally stated. So what are some of the options that we have in order to overcome this rejection, in order to overcome this problem that we have? We can amend independent claim 1 by adding a new feature that's not shown by references A and B in combination. For example, as we said, feature 1 is at least one leg, which is shown by reference A applied by the examiner. Feature 2 is a seat, which is shown by reference A applied by the examiner. And feature 3 is a backrest, which is shown by reference B applied by the examiner. There's the problem. However, we can add a new feature 4. For example, that could be an armrest that's attached to the seat, and which is not shown in references A and B. So references A and B in combination show the features 1, 2, and 3 that are stated in the original claim 1, but not the new element or feature 4, which is an entirely new element that we added. Thus, you may amend independent claims, for example, in our situation, claims 1, 5, and 13 of the smartwatch, by adding a new element that of course finds support in the specification and that is not shown by the references applied by the examiner. That's one way to proceed. Now let's examine another way. We can amend independent claim 1 by expanding on a new feature not shown by references A and B. For example, once again, feature 1 could be at least one leg, feature 2 can be a seat, both of these shown by reference A, and feature 3 can be a backrest, which is shown by reference B. However, instead of adding a new element as we did in the previous slide, we can revise the third feature, feature 3, by stating, for example, that the backrest is covered by a fabric. Now, this addition is not shown in references A and B in combination. References A and B in combination show features 1 and 2 as stated in original claim 1, but not the expanded element or feature 3, which presents an additional element for the backrest. Therefore, you may amend the independent claims, in other words, claims 1, 5, and 13 of the smartwatch case, by expanding on an existing feature or element that is already found in the claim and that is not shown by the references applied by the examiner. So that's another way to proceed in order to amend a claim. Now, the Sharks would recommend proceeding in one of these two ways when amending the claims for your first assignment. Congratulations, Shark. V14 is complete. Please proceed to the first assignment for the smartwatch case. Thank you.